Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Focus on It Friday, the Focus Corner. The Focus Corner is what we have and host when we're giving out good information, but it's not necessarily Friday. So welcome. It is Tuesday. You are in the right place to learn all about the importance of getting a good night's sleep. So come on in, bring your focus, bring your questions. We are going to have a good time tonight. Now, you all know that these don't last a long time. My children say, Mommy, you're talking to your friends around the world, and it's not Friday. And I said, you are absolutely right, baby. But we are going to come over here and hop on for just a quick minute, give some good information, and then we're going to get back to our evening, because after all, we're talking about sleep, and it is 7:48. We've got Mama Diane. Thank you for joining. We've got Auntie Julia. Thank you so much for joining Focus on It Friday, the Focus Corner. That is what we call when we just simply turn the camera a little bit in this direction, focus on this wall over here, put it in the corner, and it is not Friday, and we call it the Focus Corner. I'm so glad that we have a couple of people here. We've got 4 people. If you are here, then just come on in and say, hello. Auntie Julia says, good evening. And I say, good evening right back to you. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so happy that you all are here with me. This makes me so excited. So thank you all so very much for coming in. Anybody else here? We've got 6 people that my little eye sees are here. 6 people are here, according to the eye. So come on in and let me know that you are here. I would love to speak to you. I would love to speak to you. We're going to talk about sleep, not speak, although some people do talk in their sleep. But we're going to be talking about sleep tonight and how it is related to the child who has ADHD. So come on in. We've got Patricia Bell. She says, good evening. And I say, good evening right back. Thank you for watching, Patricia and Taylor. Thank you for joining us as well. If you know that somebody needs to be over here, perhaps they don't want to be tagged, but just go ahead and text them and say, come on over here to Focus on It Friday. You know your baby doesn't sleep, and you don't either. This is where you need to be. I want everybody to be here while we are talking about this. I don't have my watch by. Oh, I got a watch on. Yes. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Dr. Brandy B, triple board certified pediatrician, adult psychiatrist, as well as child and adolescent psychiatrist. And through my Facebook live streams, my webinars, my upcoming book, and any other opportunity, Walmart, Kmart, whoever's mart, I am trying to tell people about ADHD if they ask me, so that they can help the students, the loved ones, their grandchildren, everybody in their life be successful in the classroom and in life. We've got Stacy Cole with us today. Thank you so much, Stacy. When I end here, I'm going to get with you. So thank you so much for joining. All right, guys, let's talk about sleep. Now, why is sleep important? First of all, what are we talking about? We're talking about ADHD. You know, it always goes back to ADHD. ADHD, there are 3 types, right? The hyperactive impulsive presentation, predominantly hyperactive impulsive presentation, predominantly inattentive presentation, and the combined presentation. And we get those types, one of 3 types, just based on the number of symptoms that you have that cause you most of your problems, you or your child, or both of you all, okay? And so we know for a fact that children who have ADHD oftentimes have trouble sleeping. If your child has ADHD and does not have trouble sleeping, you should be one happy mama jamma. If your child does not have ADHD and has trouble sleeping, you should want to improve that. And if your child has ADHD or does not have ADHD, whichever I didn't say before, and is having trouble sleeping, you might want to improve that as well. We've got Janet Young Barlow. Thank you for watching. So anybody everybody out there, let's just type improve sleep, or get better sleep. Let's see you type that in the chat. So why in the world do kids with ADHD have trouble sleeping? That is a very good question. Perhaps it is because their minds are always on the go. Hi, sissy. That's Keena Bailey. She says, good evening. Good evening back to you. So people with ADHD, their minds are always going. So just like their bodies are moving if they're very young, just like their words are coming out fast, they have trouble sleeping. They can't turn their brains off. They come up with great ideas, or they just simply can't even get in the bed. Sometimes bedtime turns into a nightmare. We talked last night about homework being a nightmare, but sometimes bedtime becomes a nightmare. So I have to be very careful that when I ask parents, does your child have trouble sleeping? And they say, oh my goodness, yes, that they are answering the question of, do they have trouble going to sleep versus do they have trouble going to bed? Those are two different things. Because it may be that if we can slow them down enough to get them in the bed, they may fall asleep. But oftentimes you just say bed and they lose it, right? They're like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. Remember, some child somewhere may even have to actually do their homework because they procrastinated and didn't get it done. So now you say bed and they're like, oh boy, time is up. We've got to get this done. We've got to get this done. So there could be many reasons that kids could avoid going to bed. But so we need to make sure that we're talking about a child avoiding going to bed versus a child not being able to go to sleep. Oftentimes parents will say, well, he just didn't want to go to sleep. Mom and dad, let me tell you this. Your child wants to make you happy. Your child wants to make you happy. Your child wants to make you happy. They want to make their teacher happy. They want to make their principal happy. They want to make everybody around them happy. And so if they are not doing that, there is a problem. That either means they cannot focus. That means they don't understand the work. That means they are not able to fall asleep. Something is going on. Perhaps they have ODD. That child still wants to make you happy. They just really don't have the tools to make you happy. So when they do something that is against what you want them to do, they just have a tantrum. So now they get labeled BAD. Go back and check that live stream out a couple of weeks ago. The child everybody calls BAD. All right. We've got Miss Erica Harris watching. Thank you, Frida. Thank you, Brandy Reeves. Thank you, Auntie Louise. Thank you. Improved sleep, says Miss Patricia Bell. Mama Diane says improved sleep. Judge Patricia Stevens says she wants to improve sleep. Cecilia says get some better sleep. Patricia Ann Taylor says she is watching. Auntie Julia says improve sleep. And Keena says improve sleep. Oh, Stacy said it. Patricia Ann Taylor. Oh my goodness. Everybody wants to get sleep. Because guess what? Sleep is important. Sleep is important. All right? Sleep is important. Just thought about something else I need to talk about. So let me go ahead and get started. There seems to be tears coming in my direction. All right. Hold on. Somebody needs to go to sleep. Hold on. Oh, boy. Okay. Co-host. All right. All right. Franklin, I'm talking to my friends from around the world. All right, they're hanging out. Can you at least turn that down? This is what happens when people stay up past their bedtime. All right, so y'all know I'm a real life mommy around here. Let's go ahead and get started. Turn that down, Franklin, so that they can hear. They can't hear. Turn it down some more. They can't hear me. Turn it on down. And she's tapping me. I'm patting her and she's patting me. All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead. Auntie Deborah, thank you for joining. Are you going to tell them hi, Faith? Say hi. Okay. All right. So, why in the world do we want to sleep? Go get your sister, Mom. All right. One thing. When we sleep, we grow. Right? So, I always tell my young ones, when we sleep, we grow. So we want to go ahead and get a good night's sleep so that we won't end up short. And that is a true statement. Growth hormone is at its peak first thing in the morning. No, ma'am. Okay. Hold on, guys. Okay. So, we're back. Hopefully uninterrupted. Thank you all for hanging out. Okay, so if you missed it, I'm Dr. Brandy B. I'm a real life physician, but I'm also a real life mom. I am a real life mom, so I thank you all for hanging in there with me. We were talking about, did y'all see my kids? Aren't they adorable? I just love them too. P says we've got Miss Ryan Hinton Smith. Thank you. She met my kids Sunday, teaching us swim. All of us swim because I don't know how to swim either, but let's get back to what we're talking about, the importance of sleep. All right, so kids with ADHD do not sleep, guys. We don't really know why, but there are several reasons that I just mentioned. Some of them may be that they can't turn off their brains. They know that they're not going to be able to turn them off, so they avoid going to sleep altogether. But when they get in bed, what happens? What we're going to talk about is some things that you can do, moms and dads, to encourage good sleep patterns in your children. The first thing is to be consistent. Set a bedtime and stick with it. No matter if it's summer, no matter if it's winter, no matter if it's the first day of school or the last day of school. Set a bedtime, stick with it. Stick with it, be consistent. You will notice that if you listen to me, when I'm talking about changing any behavior, I'm always saying be consistent. So write that in the chat for me. Be consistent. We need to be consistent, right? Daylight saving time, I think here in Alabama, if I understood this law correctly, here in Alabama, daylight saving times will be on all the time, which means that all of our days are going to be long days. That is a time that is particularly challenging for parents as they try to convince their children to go to bed when it's still light outside. So now that will be the norm, that it will be light outside and it's time to go to bed. So we've got to be consistent. Doesn't matter the day of the week. You may let them stay up a little bit later, 30 minutes or whatever, but to let a child stay up all night and on a Friday night and a Saturday night and expect them to just jump right back into it on Monday or Sunday is not a good plan. Especially if you have a child who does not adapt to changes all that well. So make sure that you're being consistent, like everybody is saying. Judge Stevens, Miss Stacy, Miss Erica, Patricia Bell, Mama Diane says, everybody says be consistent. That's number one, be consistent. I think Erica said it, yes. Number two, set the mood. Set the mood. What do I mean by that? Set the mood. Set the mood PG style, G style for kids, okay? Do the same thing, which is still being consistent. You want to give them a bath. You want to read them a bedtime story. You want to avoid the bottle, right? My dentist friends would say, don't go to bed with a bottle. And in fact, for adults who are listening out there, you have trouble sleeping, you don't want to eat too close to bedtime, right? Indigestion, problems losing weight, all that stuff. You want to eat, have 7 o'clock as your cutoff times. Now, I know that our lifestyles don't lend themselves to these types of restrictions, but you really have to be focused, if you will, when it comes to making these types of changes and being determined. You've got to be really vigilant about making these changes, right? So if you're cutting off food by 7 so that you can be in bed by 7:30, your children can, you've got to figure out a way to make it happen. And it may just be that you say, Dr. Brandy B, it just can't happen in our house. I don't get off to 6. My husband doesn't get off to 5:30. By the time we get the kids, get them home, fast food, whatever, and then we're trying to get them in bed, it's 8:39. At least be consistent with that. Don't let it be 9:30 or 10, all right? So like I said, set the mood, bathe. All of these things are telling the body, oh, this is what we do when it's time to go to bed. So for you, mom and dad, the same thing applies to you, right? Some people say, I have trouble falling asleep. I don't have that problem. I'm so exhausted that somewhere between sitting up in bed and getting my head on the pillow, I'm already out. So I don't have that problem. But if I did, I would want to set the mood for sleep, right? And we've talked about before how the other thing that we can do in our bedroom is to remove distractions, which is number 3. But let me make sure I finish this. Bathe, bedtime story, no bottle, i.e. no food. Within an hour of going to bed, really you want to do it. The Bible, if that's something you do, your prayers. When I was growing up, I always got down on my knees on the side of the bed and said my prayers. These were the things that let my body know, oh, it is time to go to sleep, all right? So the first thing you want to do is be consistent. Set a reasonable bedtime. The second thing you want to do is to set the mood. Somebody write, set the mood for me. Set the mood. Set the mood. All right. And some of the things that I mentioned are bathing, bedtime story, no bottle / food in bed, right? And then Bible or religious thing, whatever it is that you do. You know, if you squeeze a rabbit's foot 10 times before you go to bed, it's just that time to let your body know that we are setting the mood. The next thing that you want to do is to, number three is to remove distractions. Remove distractions. Now, many years ago, people didn't have TVs probably in their home, but they definitely did not have them in their bedrooms. Bedrooms are meant for two things, for sleeping and for adult activities. If you're an adult, then maybe you aren't doing one of those things. You don't even know what I'm talking about. But the other thing everybody is doing, and that is to sleep, okay? If you have a TV going, a phone going, an iPad going, a computer going, loud noises in the house are going, because everybody is not really focused on decreasing the distractions, then you may have a situation where the child is not able to sleep. So you want to make sure that you decrease the distractions. Then we write set the mood, all right? Set the mood by having a nighttime routine. Set the mood by having a nighttime routine. That's number 2. And then number 3 is to decrease distractions. Decrease distractions. The fourth thing we want to talk about are our sleep aids. Sleep aids. What do I mean by that? Some people need over-the-counter medications. Some people need over-the-counter medications, all right? That could be like melatonin. Some people use Benadryl, but we want to, and some people need prescription strength medications. Get with your doctor or your nurse practitioner or whoever it is that prescribes your medicines to talk about what is best for you and or your child. But sleep aids are not the devil. Nobody wants to hear about medicine. But guys, your children are suffering in class. Some of these kids may not even have ADHD. They may just be tired. And so instead of going to sleep, they fight off sleep by talking too much, by being hyperactive. But we'll never know because they're running on 4 and 5 hours of sleep. By the time you get in, you fix dinner, and then you let them stay up late because you're finishing up your notes or whatever you're doing. On social media yourself watching Dr. Brady B, and they're not in the bed. So I'll take the blame for that tonight. But we've got to make sure that we are removing the distractions and going with those aids. Melatonin is over the counter. Benadryl is over the counter. And then prescription medications. Another aid that you can use is a clock. There are some pretty fancy clocks that exist out there. Not just the digital ones that say the time. There are actually some clocks that have a red light when it's time for them to stay in bed and a green light when it is acceptable for them to get out of bed. Okay. So on the weekends when you want to sleep late, check out this red, yellow, green. Red means stay asleep or at least stay in bed. Yellow means you're getting close. Green means you can come out. And that would be something for a child who is at least able to understand the differences in colors and able to have some self-control and associate moving and not moving with these colors of the clock. So that can be an aid as well to keep the kid in bed. And then lastly, we may need to do some tests. When you've done all of these things, and you will even notice that here in Birmingham at Children's Hospital, before they just bring you in and do a sleep study on you, which is the test, they are going to first ask you some questions. They are going to make sure that you have done all these things I've talked about, that you've been consistent, that you've set the mood, that you've moved the distractions. What sleep aids have you used? And then they may do a sleep study. What does the sleep study show us? The sleep study is going to rule out abnormalities in the airway, in the chest, in the brain even, that could rule out things like parasomnias, which means para is around, somnia is dealing with sleep. So sleepwalking, sleep talking, and all those things. And what most people think about when they think about a sleep study is obstructive sleep apnea, or it's commonly called sleep apnea. So you can have either sleep apnea for central reasons, which means that your brain just does not tell your lungs to go, or you can have it from obstructive reasons, where your lungs may be the heaviness of your chest, narrowing of your airways, whatever the case may be, that physically just does not allow the lungs and the airways to do what they need to do. All right. So sleep is super important. Sleep is something that oftentimes you can fix by using some techniques, behavioral modification. So this is definitely one place where behavioral modification can be very, very, very beneficial. But you've got to do it. There's the cry it out model for people whose children do what we call curtain calls. And they call them back into the room. Mama, mama. My mama talks about me all the time because she says that I did that. Mama, mama. Okay. So, or they cry in the middle of the night. They sleep 2 hours and they wake up. One of the things that you can stop doing is taking them a snack, taking them a bottle, right? Because if you keep doing it, they're going to keep doing what they were doing to get you to respond in that way. So there's the cry it out method. Somebody asks about sleeping in the bed. Again, remember what the bedroom is for. Sleep and adult activities. If your child is in the bed with you, then one of those things probably isn't happening. And it's both of them with you, because if your children are like mine, they're all over the place turning cartwheels in their sleep. They need to be in their own bed, right? So we need to work. A lot of times I'll tell parents to work backwards to get the child out of your bed. So sit them on a cot next to your bed. Right? This is parenting in general is an active sport. It's not a passive sport. You got to get off the bleachers into the field. So you got to get up out of the bed. And if they get back in the bed, you got to put them back on the floor. Put them back on the floor. So on the floor next to your bed, on the floor, by the door inside your room, on the floor, outside of your room in the hallway, move them all the way back until they get into their room. And sometimes you've got to get up and place them back where they were. So it can be a very draining night for you, but can be very rewarding over the 2 to 4 weeks or so that it may take for that to happen. All right. Any questions? Any questions? Did y'all write those other things for me? Be consistent. Set the mood for sleep. Decrease distractions. Use sleep aids, right? And then get testing if all else fails. What questions do you all have for me? Any questions that you all have tonight? Let's see. I saw someone else come in. Usha Anand, thank you for joining. Please forgive me if I did not say your name correctly. Any other questions? Any other questions, concerns? Any other thoughts? Are you all getting good sleep? On a scale of 1 to 5, rate your sleep each night. 5 being great, I have no problem sleeping, and 1 being sleep, what's that? Go ahead and just tell me where you stand. I'm probably a 4, I guess, 3.5 to 4, because I sleep well. I just don't sleep enough. Right? And that's because I'm doing 11 different things. And then trying to wake up and start back over. Judge Stevens says she's at a 3. Keena says a 0. Girl, that's not even on the map. A 0. I'm talking about over time. Patricia Bell, Mama says 5. This is awesome. I'm so glad to see that people are sleeping. Stacy says 3, sleep apnea and the mask is a nightmare. Oh my goodness. Yes, it is. The mask is a nightmare. They make cannula-like things that just go in your nose. And then they make some fancy ones that just kind of do this. Some of that fancy stuff may not be covered by insurance though. So money definitely poses a risk. But reach out to your pulmonologist and ask them about what other options there are. But sleep apnea, guys, is a big deal, right? And a lot of people think, again, sleep apnea. I try to tell y'all things that you may not have thought about and nobody else really told you. You probably think that sleep apnea is just a nuisance because you snore and it bothers the people that you live with and that you sleep with. Sleep apnea, guys, is a really huge deal, much like ADHD, probably even more significant, right there neck and neck. Because what happens is, so apnea means to stop breathing, right? So when you have sleep apnea, that means that throughout the night, you are not breathing. Well, what happens when you don't breathe? Your brain doesn't get oxygen. It makes all your organs work harder, right? And eventually they will shut down. Heart attacks, because the heart is having to squeeze harder to try to get that oxygen out because it thinks that there's just not enough. And if I squeeze harder, I can get oxygen to the places it needs to be. When in fact, there is no oxygenation going on because there is no breathing going on. We need to push out carbon dioxide and bring in the oxygen, because the oxygen is all around us. But if we stop breathing, that whole process stops. And now we got a situation where the heart and the lungs are working overtime to keep your pinky toe oxygenated. So please, 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 for the people that snore, and I don't care how little you are, I don't care how big you are, you can have sleep apnea, independent of your weight. Because remember, I told you there are two types. There's the one type where your brain doesn't do what it's supposed to. Then there's the other type where things like weight and other just the anatomy of your neck and the way it may be, you may be collapsing. There may be a number of different things. And so you really, really, really need to get that checked out. So thank you all for sharing. Auntie Julia says, according to her smartwatch, she's at a 4. Well, all right then, Auntie Julia, that is awesome. Erica says that she's a 2, but sometimes a 5. So let's see what we can do, Erica. Look at this list that I just went over. See what you can do to at least get to a 3 consistently. Do a 3 consistently for a week, guys. Sometimes it's just a matter of saying, I can't do that. I cannot do that. There have been some times where I've had to just say to myself, that's going to have to wait till the weekend. Because I just cannot do it. Keena says 3 is my sleep level. All right, that sounds better than a 0. All right, guys. Any other questions? Thank you all so much for sharing and being so interactive with me tonight. Any other questions? If there are no other questions, I'm going to get out of here. I heard my husband come in. Y'all, my husband's so awesome. Our anniversary is tomorrow. 9 years, guys. 9 years that we've been putting up with each other and having these babies and tag teaming and working as a for real couple over here, making things happen. So I appreciate him. I heard him come in and I heard him say, get up some toys. So there's, oh, somebody's knocking. That sounds like Franklin. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I'm not sure what we'll talk about tomorrow, but hopefully your sleep talk was beneficial. Remember, we need to sleep because we grow, we rejuvenate, we relax our minds. Thank you, Judge Steven. She says, happy anniversary. Thank you. We get it, we recharge, we reset, right? And you need to be able, when we're talking about focusing, have y'all ever noticed you just dozing off when you're tired? You're not focusing. You missed whatever was being taught, whatever was being said. Can you imagine if Judge Stevens Moss was on the bench and just kind of dozed off? You would be thinking, what in the world is going on with that lady? Well, the people at your job are thinking the same thing too. People lose their jobs for sleeping on the job. You can only say, I was praying so many times, all right? So get a good night's sleep. Happy anniversary, says Erica. Auntie Julia's clapping. Mama says, happy anniversary. Thank you all. But we will be on tomorrow. I think I'm going to come on about 11. So look out for my notification there. Don't forget, guys, there's going to be some big announcements coming up. I want you all to know about them, but you must be on my email list. The way to get on my email list for right now at this moment until I get the next step up is to go to ADHDsuccess.me. Thank you, Patricia. She says, happy anniversary. ADHDsuccess.me. That gets you on my email list. Once you get on my email list, you will get all the important updates because there are some good things that are coming up. And I want you all who hang out with me in the Focus Corner to know about them first. All right. I will see you all tomorrow. Not sure what we're going to talk about, but we'll make it fun. All right, guys. I love you all, and I thank you for hanging out with me. And until next time, I am Dr. Brandy B, triple board certified pediatrician, adult psychiatrist, and child and adolescent psychiatrist. And through my Facebook live streams, my webinars, my upcoming book, guys. Yes. Keena's got it there. This is my book, guys. I'm so excited. It is in hand. The release is coming up. You want to be there for that for sure. The way to do that, my sissy Keena has put it in the chat, ADHDsuccess.me. If you know somebody who needs to hear that video or who just needs to be on my list, because that is the way to get there, have them to go over to ADHDsuccess.me. Invite a friend over to the page as well so that they can follow us and keep up with our live streams. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Stacey, I'm going to call you, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.